Greetings and salutations, Interdescents. This is Wolfphototech, and here we go with a little bit of fun with the Game Master's Dungeon Master screen Reincarnated for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. That's the sleeve. Is there anything special inside the sleeve? No, there isn't. It's very basic. This is the second version of this screen, as people complained so hardcore that the first version of it was terrible, that they literally turned around and created a new one. There is this really nice piece of artwork. You'll sometimes see people use it in their they use it in their banner or various things. It's a handy dandy screen. Back out. It has basic instructions on how spells work, the cone, the board with a gnome that denotes the shape of various spells, and with a little star point in them, as you can see, that denotes the origin point of the spell being generated into existence, either from the point of the character putting their hand at that star point, or projecting it like a little fireball that flies out, goes to a spot, and explodes into existence. There is rules for long jump, high jump, suffocation, concentration, things you can, a little notation on things you can do in your turn. There is actions in combat, little section right here. And over here, there is conditions, handy dandy section on conditions. And then there's some basic rule DC setting chart for difficulties, damage level by severity, object hit points and durability, AC of objects, as well as skills and associated abilities over here. And then there's also travel pace instructions right here, services, obscured areas, encounter distance, cover rule, basic cover rules, light rules, and food, drink, and lodging instructions and information, as well as a little diagram denoting the various sizes of monsters and the classification size. And I also denoted that in the Dungeons & Dragons versus Rick and Morty set, that they still have a lot of this artwork included on the Dungeon Master screen, but it's been changed to fit Rick and Morty. So go check that video if you want to see that or don't. Noting that the building is on fire in the bottom. I do say that this one is definitely, if you're a Dungeon Master or a player who absolutely wants or needs aid in how to play Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, this is useful for both players and Dungeon Masters. In the case of Dungeon Masters, you stand it upright, like Nya. It is a horizontal 4-panel. I've always kind of had a love of horizontal 4 panels or vertical 5 panels. 5-panel DM screens or GM screens are extremely rare in the vertical format. If you get into 5 panels, you have a much bigger area behind the screen that you can easily put all your stuff behind. If you're going to use this as a player, most Game Masters are not going to be happy that you are having it stand up like a screen to block their vision, because it's the job of the Game Master to curate the situation, and they have tons of notes behind their screen. So if you see their notes of what's going to happen potentially, it probably will ruin your time playing. However, if you notice, what I did is I took it and laid it down flat, and that also works for a player. You can always buy a DM screen or a GM screen and just lay it down flat as a player, and you have basically a play mat with all the instructions and important information. So if you want to understand, there's a tiny bottle. Oh, it's going to be fragile. It's going to have somewhere in 1d4 or hit points, and it's going to be resilient 5 or 2d4. If you understand that mechanic, you know that, it's not going to be really hard. I just have to roll to beat its AC. Depending on how the DM defines its AC. It says here crystal, glass, and ice. It has a AC of 13. If the DM is going with that, I'm going to see if I can throw it into something. If I roll better than a 13, it makes contact, it does damage, my throw, and it exceeds its resilience and fragility, and boom, it breaks. Simple as that. You have also handy dandy section, as I was saying before, as a player. Right in the center happens to be conditions. So if you have it sitting in center, you have the conditions right here. And you can roll dice across it or past it. And it doesn't really matter that you're not looking at the artwork, because even if the artwork is nice, the artwork is not amazing. This has been a must-buy for Game Masters for a long time if you are in-person Game Master. However, this has diminished quite a bit. This is basically your starter screen. If you need a DM screen and you're just a starter Game Master or Dungeon Master, this is the screen for you. However, there are better screens, and there are more specific screens that are tied to different campaign settings or different setups. There is the Wilderness Kit, and there's the Dungeon Kit. And I'm waiting for the day that they come out with the City Kit. And then you also have setting or adventure Game Master screens, like Tyranny of Dragons here, which I will also review in the future video, that are more specific and have information more specific to that campaign. So this right here is like a 3.5 on the scale. If you're a brand new Game Master or a brand new player and you really want a quick reference source for conditions and stuff like that, it goes up to a 4. This is a great way of just literally setting it down as a player and using it as a mat or a play mat, and you have conditions right there, and you have basic information that you can use. It's better than opening a book and flipping through the pages trying to figure out all the stuff. And as for a beginner Game Master, you obviously stand it up, or you can do like a player and leave it lay down. So thank you very much for watching that video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. If you disliked it, please leave a dislike and consider subscribing. And tell me in the comments what you think. And have a delightful day, a nice night, a wonderful week, and a magnificent month. And see you next time.